This is Pioneer Public, a segment where we introduce the most interesting people on campus to their community. The Globe's Carly Bonk has this profile.
I'm Carly Bonk, co-features editor here at the Globe. Today I'm joined with Ian Brady, a sophomore mass communications major. Thank you for joining us, Ian.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so jumping right in, mass communications, how did that happen?
Mass communications seemed to encompass a lot, and I was hoping, and I'm still hoping, that that will be a prominent part of my future at Point Park, an ability to kind of concentrate on running a campaign or a fundraiser and that kind of business for a nonprofit.
And what are some nonprofit organizations that have inspired you to take this route?
So there's this place at home that was initially called the Barber Center, where my parents had met working, but it works with mentally disabled adults that feel otherwise very disadvantaged and a little bit less than, an opportunity to feel equal and independent.
All right, and it seems like your parents have had a big influence in your career path. Tell me a little bit
Absolutely.
about that.
My parents have really instilled in me this love for other people, and for using whatever I am good at to help people. And I know the nonprofit field is not necessarily the most financially stable choice, and maybe it's not exactly where I'll end up, but I will refuse to the day I die to do a job that does not in some way help at least someone.
Anybody that is friends with you on Facebook or has been in a class with you can tell that you are politically minded as a huge part of your communication skills. How would you say that you've learned to communicate with people who might not have the same views as yourself?
Right. It's so important to listen. Communication is really, in that regard at least, mostly about listening and understanding, and then analyzing where your differences come from and where your similarities come from as well.
As a mass comm major, I'm sure you've had a lot of various opportunities for internships. Tell me a little bit about some that you've checked out so far.
Yeah. So my first internship, or my only internship I've had to this day, I did from last January to last June of 2017. I was the Gene Kelly Awards co-coordinator, and so I worked to organize this high school theater award show in Allegheny County, and so I was working with judges and directors and students. Really, to this day, there's never been a more inspiring experience than the last few weeks when I finally got to meet the kids I'd kind of been working for 6 months. But the way Pittsburgh CLO shapes their narrative is one that's very positive, and furthermore, the students in Allegheny County have been so supportive. It's less of a competition and more of a celebration, and so I cannot really put into words how inspired I was by the love that these kids had for one another. It was much less about who got an award and much more about supporting one another and just sharing that stage in the most beautiful, unified way. Like, I'm getting chills talking about it. It was the most magical experience I've ever had in my entire life.
So you had another different magical experience in your summer job that helped you with your theater and communications. Tell me a little bit about Scallywags.
So, my name was No Beard McNugget. Welcome aboard the Scallywags. I worked on this big red pirate boat that sailed in Lake Erie, and I've worked there for the past 2 summers, and basically what happens is you walk onto this pirate ship, and we greet you in our pirate voices and our pirate costumes, and we give you a 90-minute adventure. And it was a really cool experience for more reasons than one, but primarily because growing up in Erie, it was my home, and I love Erie. But I didn't realize that it was so much of a vacation spot until I would pass these hats out. We had these paper hats, and I would pass them out, and I would say, here's your hat, where are you from? And we once had a family from Saudi Arabia, and I don't know why. They were probably in Erie for some reason besides the Scallywags. But it was wild, just absolutely wild, that I got to meet all of these people, so few actually from Erie, on the Scallywags, and to recognize that my home has a value outside of it being my home. It is, it's a a place of escapism for a lot of people, and I was happy to provide that. And I was thrilled the past 2 summers have had that experience. I've met some of the most influential people in my life, really. And I worked with a lot of friends I already had, but there's some friends I've made that I will be friends with for life from the Scallywags, because, once a pirate, always a pirate. Am I right?
Well, thank you so much again, Ian,
Thank
for
you.
joining us today. Hopefully, Pioneer Public shed a light on somebody that is in your class, somebody that you've seen in dining halls, and somebody that you might want to walk up and say hello to and learn a little bit more.
I'd
Thank
love to be
you.
your friend.
Thank you very much.
For more Pioneer Public profiles, visit our website at ppuglobe.com.